So you walk into your teenager's room and smell peppermint. Is it chewing gum, mouthwash, or a vaping product? Vaping has certainly been in the news, but responsive actions varies from city to city and county to county. Welcome to Take Notice. I'm your host, Dan Lawson, and our guest today is Craig Wingate, public health educator for the Tobacco Prevention Program of San Mateo County. Welcome, Craig. It's good to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Can you briefly talk about the history of e-cigarettes
Yes.
to start off with?
So e-cigarettes entered the U.S. market in 2006, and then they increased in popularity around 2015, which was also the introduction to the Juul device, e-cigarette device. And that led to where we are today in terms of having a 78% increase in e-cigarette use among youth and in high school, and almost 50% increase in e-cigarette use among middle school youth throughout the country.
And Juul certainly has been in the news lately too, haven't they? Yeah,
Yes, they have.
a positive note. And maybe you talked about those increases in use. Why did e-cigarette use and popularity increase so significantly among youth in particular?
There are actually a number of reasons, but the top reasons are the flavors. The flavors are designed to entice and attract youth. So you have various flavors called unicorn poop or cotton candy or cookies and cream, all these different types of names that really attract youth and make them wonder, ooh, I want to use this product. So you have flavors, and that tends to be like the top three reason why you try flavored tobacco products. You also have marketing, in terms of marketing of the product. Unlike traditional cigarettes, e-cigarettes don't have the same marketing restrictions as traditional cigarettes. So e-cigarette companies like Juul Tobacco, which is Juul's also a tobacco company, they were allowed to run ads on television, on the radio, and social media. That was a big component to why these products became so popular, because of social media drove popularity. And then finally, the branding of the e-cigarette itself, in terms of it being perceived as less harmful as traditional cigarettes. We don't know what's inside of these e-cigarette devices. They're not FDA approved, and they're not regulated or verified for what's actually in them.
Well, it sounds like they certainly did their job with marketing.
Yes, they
But
did.
now you got me interested in what unicorn poop tastes like.
Exactly.
So if a parent walks into the teen's room, as I mentioned earlier in the intro, and smells mint, how do they know if it's a vape product or just chewing gum?
They don't, and that's the problem. These devices are designed to smell, look, taste harmless, and in actuality, they're very harmful.
Right. Well, which leads to the next question. Aren't these products supposed to be safe? I mean, that's how they're marketed. You mentioned that already, a little bit about that. But how does the amount of nicotine in vaping products compare to traditional cigarettes?
Well, research shows that the Juul, using Juul as an example, Juul pod contains enough nicotine to be equal to almost 2 packs of cigarettes.
Wow, that's amazing. And now we understand that people have died after using e-cigarettes or vaping. And do we know what's causing the deaths?
Based on the CDC website, we don't know why people are getting ill and dying from using e-cigarettes. What we do know is that each of the victims had a history of using or vaping either nicotine, THC, or both. And in terms of the deaths, we're now looking at, according to the CDC website, 18, but I just saw some headlines today that may increase that rate.
Who are these victims?
Well, we don't know their exact names, but we do know that majority of the victims are male and under the age of 35, and about 16% of them are under the age of 18.
Right, and have many San Mateo County residents been affected by vaping-related illnesses?
We actually had one confirmed case in San Mateo County.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how old was that individual?
We don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What is San Mateo County doing to protect the public then? And can you explain how this applies to the cities within the county? Because there's so many cities within the county, it sounds like there's no, general format, so to speak, to deal with this.
San Mateo County Health has been monitoring e-cigarette use for quite some time, and the Tobacco Prevention Program has been supporting the county's Tobacco Education Coalition with their efforts to advocate for regulation for these products. The coalition has spoken at various city council meetings, educating city council members about the dangers of these products. And they've spoken at cities like Half Moon Bay, San Carlos, Portola Valley, and in front of the Board of Supervisors. And each of those jurisdictions, after hearing all the education and making the decision on their own, that they decided that they wanted to move forward with an ordinance that restricts the sale of flavored tobacco products, which includes menthol cigarettes and all tobacco products in pharmacies.
So those were good examples of how this applies to the cities within the county's jurisdiction.
Yes, and the Tobacco Prevention Program also provides education. We partner with the Tobacco Use Prevention Education Unit, TUPE. And they do education in schools. We also do education in schools, but we tend to do it later in the evening for PTA or parent-teacher meetings, meetings that happen on the weekend. But TUPE would be the unit or organization that would do the sort of like the day of or during the day presentations.
Good. It's good to hear that the county's out there aggressively hitting the bricks on this issue.
Definitely.
How can people protect themselves then? I know you mentioned what the cities are doing. How can people protect themselves?
So they can continue to learn about what's happening in the news in terms of the vape-related deaths and illnesses. They can also go to various websites like Flavors Hooks Kids. It's the state's flavored tobacco education campaign, and it's a great website, has lots of information, easy to digest information, flavorshookkids.org. They can also go to the Truth Initiative's website, which is thetruth.com. That's where people will learn that, for example, youth who vape are 4 times more likely to transition to using traditional cigarettes. So that's another source. And then finally, the county. If people are interested in learning about the ordinances that have been passed in those different jurisdictions, they can go to smchealth.org/flavored tobacco.
All right, those are great resources, and it's important to remember too that we don't want to lose focus on tobacco itself too, and get distracted and think, oh well, we'll go back to the tobacco now that vaping is dangerous, so to speak. So Craig, this has been wonderful. It's been very informative. I really appreciate being here, and I'm sure our viewers do too. So the bottom line is that kids are being pressured into trying an addictive substance by sweet flavors, seductive advertising, and perhaps, and maybe even, that resulting peer pressure. San Mateo County supports education and information programs and works with cities, schools, medical staff, and all county departments to make a difference. So thanks for tuning in to Take Notice, and have a safe day.